This video I'm doing today will be a part of a series that I'm doing as I am in my second part of my life, or second half. So you will probably see me looking all over the place and kind of like grasping amazing feelings as well as just like the what ifs or what next as I discuss this video. It's going to be amazing though. Um, it's talking about just turning into your 50s as you navigate through, as I call it, the second half of my life. Um, this is a vibe check. And for many of you who don't know who I am LaKenya Tam. And this is the Empowerment Click, of course, with LaKenya Tam. So before I turned 50, I watched other women talk about it. And I remember thinking, they look so free, lighter, grounded, moisturized, very intentional. And I kind of, no, I'm not going to say I kind of, I wondered, what does that actually feel like? Now I know. And it's not what I expected. Turning 50 is not just confidence, and it's not just wisdom or these fancy empowerment quotes. It's awareness of your body, your time, energy, patterns. And that awareness can feel so beautiful and uncomfortable at the same time. If you're 25, 35, or 45 watching this video, hear me. 50 does not feel old. It feels honest. It feels like the moment you stop pretending you have unlimited time. You start thinking in decades instead of years, if that makes sense. You start to ask yourself, if I live another 30 years, how do I want them to feel? Not just look, but really feel. And that question changes you. It does. Because when you realize time is not infinite, you stop playing really small. Um, and you don't postpone joy anymore. Your word trajectory starts to change and you stop saying one day, you know? And 50 makes that one day feel really weird, real. I'm not going to say scary, but just real. Now let's talk about the parts no one glamorized. um, the body. Your body shifts like hormones and energy shifts. Your patient, your patience is like not the same. And that can be both good and bad. It depends on how you set up. Some days you feel absolutely amazing. And other days you wake up and think, why does everything feel so different? And that can mess with your identity because you know yourself one way for decades, and now your rhythm is changing. It doesn't mean you're declining. It means you're evolving. Um, but evolution is not always so soft. It can feel really weird and strange. Sometimes it can feel like, and this word I know it differs for many, but it can feel like grief. Grieving for your youth again, the old version of yourself. Um, Even for the timeline you thought you could follow or you would follow. We prepare to be one way, and it's like finances is stable, house stable, on your fourth passport. Just things that we think of often. Um, and that grief desires acknowledgement. Oh, it does. Oh, goodness. Um, n- and that's the powerful part that you don't want to be in denial about. Alongside, grieving is clarity. You start seeing through things. You see when someone is bullshitting you or you're not aligned. Um, you start to notice the patterns of you overgiving and when you're not gonna start to be settled anymore. You don't have the same appetite for it anymore. And that's where things shift. It's not dramatic, but I think it's pretty precise. I had to sit with myself and ask a real question. Um, who am I now? Not who I was at 30 or 40. Not who people expect me to be. But who am I becoming? Because turning 50 is not about staying the same. It really isn't. Um, you become more selective, way more intentional, more aware of the cost of your peace. And if you are younger watching this, don't wait. You don't need to be 50 to ask these questions. But if you are 50 and just not asking them, you're not behind either. And I wanted to say this is also, as you over 50, 60, 70. I mean, I know that I talk about 50 because I'm 50 years old. That's why I talk about it so much. um, but you're not behind. You're ready. There is no expiration date to your alignment. There's something else I didn't expect. Like this quiet excitement about new goals, energy, love, experiences. Because when you realize time is real, you stop shrinking your desires. Um, you stop thinking it's too late. You definitely stop waiting for permission. And yes, there are moments where you think, how many more good years do you have realistically left? And another thought can be really like sombering, but it's also very motivating. It allows you and it forces you to be more intentional. Um, it forces you to like design instead of like, drift off. The second half of my life didn't make me smaller at all. It made me more aware and more stronger and more present to anything. And a lot more honest with myself. I came to realize that I didn't want the next 20 or 30 years to be automatic. I needed them to be more intentional. Um, Identity shift is not about how becoming someone new. It's about shredding what no longer fits you. Um, it's about like cooperating with this season instead of fighting it. honoring the woman or the person you were and upgrading into that woman you're becoming. And if you're sitting there feeling something shift inside of you, that's not a decline. It's depth. You are becoming so aware of that shift. So this is what 50 really feels like. No declining or desperation, no messy drama, but definitely a lot of awareness. If this conversation resonated with you, I want you to go back to my very, very first video, which I will pin somewhere around here. um, and watch that video. It is called Identity Shift After 50. That's where the journey began for me, and I hope that you take some pieces from that audio podcast or audio video or audio and let it resonate with you. I take my birthdays very seriously each year. So I know the journey really starts with you. And of course, it's not just only about a birthday. It really is about the way you begin to form and align and, navigate your next steps. Whew. This is a vibe check. Thanks for listening.